back to another video. It is your host, Weetra, and I am coming at you with something new and different today. This game is Victory at Sea Pacific, and it just released today. I saw a video by the Mighty Jingles about this game, and that's what got me onto the hype train about this. And it has absolutely lived up to my expectations. And as you can see, running in the background, well, not in the background, I'm actually playing the game right now and commentating at the same time. I just raided a Japanese fleet that was on its way to one of my islands that I had recently captured from them, and they really want it back. So a little bit about this game. It's a game made by a small development team. It's really impressive, actually, the amount of work that you can see they put into this with the limited resources that they had. I personally am very, very impressed by this game. The last time I played a game like this was Battle Stations Pacific, and that game came out 9 years ago. I loved that game to pieces, and the only reason I can't play it anymore is because I don't have my Xbox 360 anymore, and I can't play it on Steam. I tried to, and I've just heard all these rumors about issues and stuff, and I wasn't gonna chance it. So, what is this game about? Well, it's about, as you can see, World War II. It's about World War II in the Pacific specifically, and you have one goal, and that is, win the war in the Pacific. It's a huge, 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 huge task to accomplish. You don't have any, you do have objectives, you have victory conditions, but you don't have any hard set in stone objectives that you have to meet other than those in order to win. So it is a huge task. There is huge fleets that the Japanese has that you don't have at the very beginning. So you have to play very, very cautiously at the very beginning of the game. As America. And you start off with the American campaign unlocked. The Commonwealth and Japanese campaigns are locked when you first get the game. I would assume they become unlocked when you complete the American campaign. So, as this is kind of a first impressions type deal, let me dig into my fleet composition that I have and a little bit about the UI. So, my fleet is right up here. It's Able Squadron. I don't know why it's called a squadron if it's a fleet, I don't know. It has a carrier, a heavy cruiser, a destroyer leader, a destroyer, another carrier, the USS Diamondback, I think that's a sick name. The USS Aurora, which is a cruiser, and the USS Little Rock, which is another cruiser. Now all these extenuous and, just extra stuff, these are all planes. So, a little bit of interesting things that I've noticed about the game. Not all the ship models are correct. Like the Atlanta class doesn't have dual mount weapon systems on it. It has single mounts. Some of the battleships have double mount turrets instead of triple mounts, like the USS North Carolina class of battleships and the South Dakota class of battleships, I believe, have dual mount weapon systems on them instead of the triple mounts which they had in real life. I've also noticed that I think it'd be pretty cool for the weapon systems to track air targets like they do sea targets. So, like, let's say when it's a ship-on-ship engagement, the turrets of the ships move to track the other ships, but when it's versing against planes, the turrets don't move. I think that'd be pretty cool to see, like, the guns elevate and the turrets move, and I think that'd just be a pretty cool thing to see. Alright, so moving on, let's head down to the bottom left. So, in the bottom left, it has the ship name, the speed. You can adjust the speed here with this little slider. Has the crew. Wow, 2,217 crew members on board. That would be a huge loss if one of these got sunk. In real life, the USS Hornet did sink. I think it was scuttled, and I think it was at the Battle of Santa Cruz, I think. Currently going 6 knots. I don't know why they're going so slow. Japanese fleet is to the, what is that? That is the northeast, or northwest, my bad. I always get the two mixed up. Moving on to the right, down here at the very bottom. Let's say you have a ship selected like I did the USS Hornet. It shows all the weapon systems that it has available. So like for a carrier, it would have your planes, like the fighters and the torpedo bombers and the dive bombers, and you know, the dual purpose guns. You can tell the dual purpose because the little plane symbol on top of the gun mount icon. I had to ask someone in the Discord about that, the Victory at Sea Pacific official Discord, which they have on Steam. You can find the link there. You can skip time, but I'll get to that in a minute. Down at the bottom right, you know, it's the mini-map, you know, nothing too special there. Moving up, this is where you have the speedometer, the time acceleration thing right here. It goes up to 25 times in regular battle mode, and it goes up to 1,000 times in the strategic fleet view. So let's see. Okay, those are Jake. Oh, okay. Oh, there. Okay. Let's track this Wildcat flight. I do currently have what's it called? Hellcats unlocked. I just haven't been able to find out where I can upgrade my planes. I think you can do that in the port. I hope so. Oh, they have no ammo. That would probably help. Okay, well, you guys can go back and land. I don't know. Sometimes you give them an order and they just outright ignore you, which is weird. I think it's just a bug. But like I said, the game was released today, so there's going to be a few hiccups here and there. I'll get to that interface in a minute. You know, nothing really too game-breaking, which I'm really happy about. Oh, that's my island. Okay, ignore the air siren. Okay, that's very annoying. Okay, let's go back here. I'm currently at the Gilbert Islands. Let's see, let's get our entire carrier group. Okay, select the whole thing. And let's move into attack. Alright, now they should be gaining speed. Yeah, the speed's going up and up and up and up and up. So back to that interface I was just at. This one. So this is, like it says, your fleet. This, I would assume, is the crew distribution on the selected ship. Yeah, so let's see, go here. Yeah, it changes. That's pretty cool. Stores, it shows you what they have available. So you have 2,300 shells on the USS Augusta, heavy cruiser number 31. You can have rations, which is, you know, what your crew eats. And morale is important, because if your morale is low, your crew and your ship won't perform as well, which could lead to a very dead ship, which will be a waste in war bonds, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And so all this is all your fleet log, I would assume. Combat is the screen we were just on. Now the log shows everything that has happened thus far in the campaign. I'm currently on the 9th of January 1943. The last major thing to happen was the 29th, so that's 10 days ago. The 29th of December 1942. Now the game starts you off at Pearl Harbor. That's the tutorial level, is Pearl Harbor. So moving on, you can read this if you want to, you know, or force engage, you know, whatever. It does an overview of what happened. Personnel is, you know, the commander of your ship, which is, I've noticed there's a lot of admirals for one fleet. You know, you would assume captains to be in charge of destroyers and, you know, stuff like that. I would assume an admiral would be the head of a carrier, not a destroyer, especially a rear admiral or a vice admiral. Their ranking system is a little odd. I'm pretty sure they'll fix that, but it's kind of nitpicky. Over here you have traits, so things that happen in battle influence the traits that your that your ship can have. So depending on the situation and how you react and how the ship does, you can get different traits. Moving on to bridge, this is the overall strategic map view of the game. Yeah, so you start off with a little area. You know, this up here is red because the Japanese took part of the Alaskan island chain up here from me. I still need to go back down there, or up there, and take it. So you start with this, I think. You don't have the Marshall Islands or the Gilbert Islands. You do have this down here. So a lot of this, I believe, is either Commonwealth or neutral at first, but Japan just kind of comes down and just steamrolls their way through here. It's insane. You get like 10 messages at once saying, hey, Japan's done this, 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 and this. So at the very start of the game, the war progress bar, which is, you know, your progress to winning the game. Right now, Japan's winning because look at all the stuff they have. But in the very beginning, America's like up here where this tick mark is. And, you know, since in real life Japan just steamrolled their way through the Pacific, that's what they do in the game, and you have to take it back from them and show them who's boss. So once this bar reaches all the way to green, when you take Tokyo, Japan, all that other fun stuff, you'll win the game as the Americans, and then you finally unlock Japanese and Commonwealth campaigns, is how I assume it works. I'm not sure because I haven't gotten that far. Moving down, these little green triangles and these blue squares, you know, they're your XP, I would assume. Yeah, not I would assume, they are. So you get XP by killing things and just doing things in game. So let's get Task Force 19, let's get them back at Tarawa. I want you guys back there. Alright, yeah, we did a lot of damage. They had a few cruisers and a lot more destroyers, and those dive bombers really did their job. I'm really happy about that. Back through here, okay, it shows this date, time, you know. War bonds. War bonds are extremely important. War bonds are what you use to purchase ships, and you don't get them outright. You actually have to let them build over time, which takes a certain amount of days in game. So let's say you want, I don't know, let's hop in the shipyard. You want a PT boat, you know, it takes 3 days. You know, they're small. So it's not going to take as long as, let's say, a fleet carrier, the Essex class, which takes 82 days to build and costs leaps and bounds more war bonds to acquire, which obviously, you know, it's a lot more valuable and impactful than a PT boat would be. Oh, excuse me. So it's going to cost more, but that means you have to, you know, kind of use it more cautiously, because if you don't, you can lose that carrier, which can be very, very ugly. And I've also noticed that when you want to try and cancel production of a ship that hasn't started yet, you don't get the war bonds back for the purchase that you made, which I found rather peculiar, because I would assume you'd get a refund for it, but I guess not. I found that out. It was a heavy cruiser, it was 180 war bonds, you know, I made that back fairly quickly. Options, you know, it's just fairly straightforward. It's options, you know, your preferences for the game. Right now I have it at 200 times game speed because I want them to reach Tarawa rather quickly. Alright, my planes are still harassing this this fleet. Now they have 0 destroyers, and because, you know, we just got torpedo bombers in on them. And my fleet over here recently took the Marshall Islands, so we're steadily making progress. So, okay, moving back onto the UI. Moving back over here, we got the task forces, which I only have 4 because I like to have mine more consolidated and not as spread out, because if they're more spread out, you know, they're easier targets. But if they're more consolidated, you can lose more in any given engagement. So, you know, there's inherent risks to both. So moving on, coastal defenses, ports. Ports ports are very, very important, because ports are these little icons in a little house, in the house of the garage, and the house garage and the shed type deal that you got going on. So let's say you want a ship or a fleet to head back to a island to rearm, repair, whatever. That's where this stores option comes in. So you see how Tarawa has no shells, no bombs, no aerial torpedoes, or no aviation fuel. That means that I can't rearm my ships or refuel my planes until a supply convoy comes down here and gives me these needed supplies, which is one over here, but it's headed to Macon Atoll. I have no idea how to say that. I'm crap. All these zones of flashing icons mean the supplies are low, and surplus, which means you're taking supplies from these places and you're giving to these places, not to these places because they have no supply priority, but the higher priority is the more farther out ones, which I'm using to kind of stage my way through down south and more further west. So moving on, here are your objectives. So currently I have recon of Tulagi, which is down here, and capture Guadalcanal, which is down here as well. I know the Americans took Guadalcanal in 1942 in real life, so I'm a little bit behind schedule than they were in real life, but I've already sunk 6 fleet carriers of Japan's, so it's giving me pretty free reign of the Pacific Ocean right now. I've also sunk a large number of their battleships already, save the Yamato class. I'm probably not going to see them until I reach like the Philippines, because that's where they encountered them in real life in 1944. Moving on to supply convoys. These are the convoys that supply your islands. You need to keep these alive at all costs, because if you do not, you can have a starved island of resources, and if you don't have resources there, you can't refuel, rearm your ships, and if you can't do that, you might have a stranded fleet out here, and you might have to send an oil tanker or something out here to save them, which also takes, war bonds. So, and we've already discussed war bonds. Here are your income: basic port income, minor port income, major port income. And, upgrading your ports gives you more war bonds. So down here, New Caledonia was a minor port, I believe, and I've upgraded it up through building a shipyard, which it takes 28 days to build. So 4 weeks in-game time, which actually is like real life time, I think. But if you skip time or accelerate time, it goes much, much faster. So let's pop on back down over here. Let's get Task Force 19 back on track and assaulting this group. Let's get some action going. Yeah, they're gonna raid Macon Atoll, but hopefully it doesn't take so long. Yeah, Task Force 27. Where is Task Force 27 at? It's been attacked by enemy aircraft near the Marshall Islands. Okay, so that's a little bit to the northeast. Alright, yeah, they're raiding Macon Atoll right now, so that's not very good. But we're sending in our planes. They've hit. I accelerated time too fast because, like I said, I'm crap. So, alright, let's get these dive bombers and let's head in on them, see what they're at. Alright, they're okay. SPD Dauntlesses. Let's track these ones instead. Alright, so the Kuma. Yeah, let's sink you because I don't like you. I don't like your face. I don't like what you stand for. I don't like anything about you. Alright. And now they're coming in. They're gonna dive. Oh, no, they're not. They're just gonna drop. Alright, well, he's sinking. And that just leaves a few. The Miyoko and the Chikuma. Chikuma is a heavy cruiser. Ooh, I thought it was a light cruiser. It's a Tone class. The Tone class has the 4 in the front, which is a horrible design flaw because you can't shoot in the back. That's just a crappy design. And the Miyoko, which is tier 7 in World of Warships. I like that ship a lot. It's a fun ship. The ship textures aren't all that great, but the gameplay makes up for the graphics, in my opinion. It's a small development team, and like I said, it's really impressive for what they've already accomplished, and I'm really excited to see where this game will go in the future. The developers are really active in the community thus far, which I think is amazing. I really like that about game companies and, game developers and, just any company. If you're involved with your community and your audience, then you're gonna prosper, and they're gonna prosper too, because, you can get feedback, valuable feedback, and, you can actually provide an experience that your customers want to have in your game, which will keep them coming back, and, it's just good for business and good for the customers as well. So, yeah. Cons. Some more cons. Well, there's a few bugs in the game thus far, like, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's just an oversight on the developer's part, but sometimes if you want to retrieve your planes on your fleet carrier, your escort carrier, what have you, sometimes your planes will just do circles and just kind of ignore every command you give them, and they'll just keep doing circles and keep doing circles, and they won't land on your carrier, and they'll just be out in the middle of the ocean, doing whatever it is they're doing. Oh, this guy took a few losses. I also think it'd be pretty cool if you could adjust squadron sizes, because they have squadrons of 3. I think it'd be pretty cool if you can have them 4, maybe 5. I know the fighters have 4. Okay, can't find those ones. Oh, okay. Loading screen. They do have some nice loading screens. Okay, that's not normal. Okay, yeah, there it goes. Yeah, see, I believe they have 4. This is 2 squadrons. Let's get one of them to kind of wave off over here real quick. Yeah, see, they just kind of ignore your commands. Alright, let's pop back on into strategic view. Okay, what? Okay. Alright, 1 cruiser, 1 heavy cruiser. Oh wow, they wrecked making a toll. Torpedo bombers are coming in. Anyway, this game is priced at $35 with a 10% discount. A lot of people thought it was a pretty steep price. I for one, I still picked it up anyway, and I've been enjoying every minute of this game so far. There's not been anything that I haven't enjoyed, except maybe, playing island tag with Japan over Wake Island and Midway and losing a few battleships and a carrier here and there. But I think it was well worth the trade and well worth the time. I've been playing this game for, it released at 4 p.m. today. It's currently 3 in the morning. I've been playing this game for about 11 hours, 10 hours, and this is all the progress I've made. It's definitely one of those games where you have to sink some time into, but I still think it's a really good game regardless. Let's pop in on these torpedo bombers and see what they're up to. Oh, nice. Textures. Delicious. Alright, these torpedo bombers are a little high, if you ask me. Alright, let's get them. And, selecting planes is kind of interesting. You have to click the number instead of like the bar or, you actually have to like click on the number above it, which is interesting too. And you can hit space to kind of pop on over and center, focus in. Alright, okay. Alright, let's narrow down the torpedo spread. Now let's attack this Miyoko. Okay, well that didn't go as well as I hoped it would. Oh, and the torpedoes drowned because it was too high. That's lovely. Let's see, yep, nice. Hit him right on the side. And then take this one right on the nose too. Oh, no, this went right under him because the keel came up over the water. I've also noticed that, like, if you torpedo a ship in the nose or the bow, it sinks stern first, which, oh, wow, okay, seaplanes kind of flew off the back. It sinks aft first, which is interesting. It doesn't really make sense to me, but, you know, it's whatever. It's still a good game. I like it. Worth $35. It's still probably one of those games that you want to pick up on sale, but I mean, if you can't wait, by all means, get it. It's a really good game. And no, they're not paying me to make this video. So this is my own opinion. Of course, opinions vary, and if you don't like it, you can always, you know, get a refund, you know, with no harm done. You still could have played the game. Or you still would have played the game and seen what all the fuss is about. Personally, I'm going to keep playing this game until I beat all 3 campaigns. Probably not this weekend because, you know, life and stuff, but I'm really looking forward to see what this game has in store, and I'm really looking forward to the future of this game. I really like it, and I really want to see what happens to it. Hopefully they add like rainstorms and monsoons and fun stuff like that, you know, things to make the game a little bit more interesting. Why am I tracking a Japanese plane? Anyway, I think this video's gone on quite some time now. So with that said, this is Weedra signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!